It all began in sunny San Diego, where Hank Stram's Chiefs opened the season by racing to a 14-0 halftime lead over the Chargers. In the second half, the aroused Chargers turned the game around as San Diego quarterback John Hadl produced 3 second-half touchdowns to upset the Chiefs 21-14.
The Kansas City Chiefs have been very successful over the years because Hank Stram sees to it that the Chiefs consistently surprise their opponents with formations, deception, and execution. Against the Chargers, the Chiefs left San Diego dazed and confused throughout the first half, with an assortment of halfback options and wide-open receptions by the Chiefs' wonder horse, Otis Taylor, number 89. The Chiefs' lizard backs scored 2 touchdowns. Warren McVay slithered 6 yards for one of them, but much to the Chiefs' dismay, that was it. After a one-year layoff, Sid Gilman returned to coach the Chargers, and he raised several eyebrows with many of his off-season trades and draft choices. What the Chargers have lacked in recent seasons is a consistent pass rush, but John Tanner, number 85, a young draft choice, and Ron East, number 77, part of the Lance Allworth trade with Dallas, seemed to provide immediate help for second-year veteran Tom Williams, number 87, and Steve DeLong, number 82. These men helped shut out the Chiefs for the second half, and while the crowd loved it, there was much more to come. With exciting running back Dickie Post traded to Denver, Gilman is looking to rookie Mike Montgomery, number 23, to take up the slack. With 4 minutes gone in the third quarter, Montgomery took Hadl's 39-yard pass into the end zone, where he suddenly remembered what to do with the ball. Trailing 14-7, Hadl teamed up with yet another newcomer, veteran wide receiver Jerry Levias, number 25. Levias came from Houston, and he was publicly very unhappy at the time of the trade. But after his 37-yard touchdown tied the score, he looked anything but disgruntled. But Gilman was due even more plaudits. As a Chief during the glory years, Mike Garrett, number 20, was among the most popular players. After being traded to San Diego, he threatened to quit to play pro baseball. And during the game, his friends on the Chiefs defense must have made him remember that. But after Hadl converted a 3rd and 15 situation on a pass to Walker Gillette, number 84, Mike Garrett stepped up and discovered why he still plays football. With 1st and 10 at the Chiefs' 26, he won the game. The season is, of course, very young, and the Chargers newcomers have yet to perform for a sustained period of time. But for Garrett, Levias, East, and of course Gilman, it's a new beginning. And coming from behind to beat the Chiefs 21-14 is a great way to begin, any way you look at it.
The second week in Houston, 2 Oiler quarterbacks received equal treatment from the Kansas City defense as the Chiefs picked up their first victory of the season, 20-16.
As strange as it seemed, home plate was the place to cross when the Kansas City Chiefs rolled into Oakland's combination baseball-football stadium last week. Unfortunately for the Chiefs, it was the powerful Raiders who would do most of the plate crossing on this day. Ken Stabler and Fred Biletnikoff teamed up early on a 46-yard pass and go. And from there, the Silver and Black win. Stabler to rookie tight end Dave Casper resulted in a juggling touchdown of the typical Oakland Miracle type. On defense, the Raiders went unmolested as 58 Monty Johnson swooped in as an agent of harassment all afternoon. The Chiefs' 5- and 6-man front challenged Stabler to pass, and Kenny consistently met the dare. This time on a thread-the-needle catch by number 49, Mike Ciani, who was a bit shaken up but otherwise all right. Throughout the day, Raider ballhawks were in full flight, and this time number 26, Skip Thomas, pulled the ball down. Thomas, who had 2 steals for the day, drives a white Corvette with his nickname Dr. Death painted on the side. And last week, the doctor called on the Chiefs. One of his interceptions set up Pete Banaszak's 20-yard scoring run, and the Raiders led 20-0. A repeat shows that although Banaszak went right up the middle, he was virtually unscathed in his romp. Finally, the Chiefs got on the board when number 99 Wilbur Young batted down a pass, caught it, and loped 52 yards to the end zone.
In Denver for week 3, the Chiefs picked off 4 more interceptions. And Bronco quarterback Don Horn was unable to generate a single touchdown. In fact, the game's only touchdown came about when Bobby Bell blitzed, and defensive end Aaron Brown found clear sailing all the way to the end zone as the Chiefs rolled past Denver 16-3.
During the 11 years he's coached the Chiefs, Hank Stram has lost to the Denver Broncos exactly twice in 22 outings. Lou Saban has been the party of the second part for 7 of those 20 losses, and he's getting tired of it. Both Denver and Kansas City are very strong defensive teams. The Chiefs could manage but a total of 160 yards against Saban's Rocky Mountains in cleats, and the Denver pass rush is legendary. But the Chiefs held Denver without a first down rushing. It was the kind of game that would be won by the team that made fewest mistakes. And for the 21st time, it was Kansas City. Denver seems to have all the ingredients to be a winner. But for the second straight week, Saban has seen his quarterback, Don Horn, throw the key interception. 10 in the last 2 games. And you better believe he's getting tired of that too, considering Horn was supposed to be trumpeting Denver out of the woods. Denver could also use just a little bit of luck. They were leading 3-0 in the first quarter when linebacker Dave Washington, number 56, recovered a fumble at the Chiefs' 22. Two plays later, at the start of the second quarter, Horn was blindsided by Bobby Bell. And Aaron Brown, number 87, plucked the ball from the air and waltzed 68 yards to the game's only touchdown. 3 interceptions and 3 field goals later, the Chiefs made it 21 of 23 games against Denver. And you never heard of any Indians doing any better than that.
Week 4 brought the Kansas City home opener. And although the Chiefs had won 2 straight following their opening loss in San Diego, quarterback Len Dawson and the offense had not quite managed to get the attack together. Trailing 10-0 in their rematch with San Diego, Hangstram's offense came alive. First with Jim Otis, the recently acquired 220-pound fullback from Ohio State. Then another Otis came alive. Wide receiver Otis Taylor, number 89. A third touchdown was added by Warren McVeigh as the Chiefs exploded for 31 straight points and avenged their only loss by running away from the Chargers, 31-10.
It was the home opener for the Kansas City Chiefs, a team which after 3 out-of-town previews was tied for first place on the strength of its defense and a team still in search of an offense. The Kansas City defense can do everything well, but they're not invincible, as former Chief mini-back Mike Garrett again proved. Garrett knows how to use every inch of Kansas City's municipal stadium. On opening day in San Diego, the Chiefs had led 14-0 before losing. Last week, the Chargers led 10-0 before the Chiefs shut them out for the rest of the day. At first, San Diego's new improved pass rush gave Len Dawson a rough time. But Dawson counteracted the rush with quick traps up the middle by Wendell Hayes, number 38. The Chiefs' first touchdown came as Dawson faked a run, rolled out, and fired to Jim Otis in the end zone. Kansas City controlled the rest of the game, due in good part to the return of form of Ed Podolak, number 14. Podolak's versatility is vital to the Kansas City offense. Just as vital to the Chiefs is the ability of wide receiver Otis Taylor to get open and for Len Dawson to find him. Last Sunday, with all parts functioning perfectly, the Chiefs rolled to a 31-10 victory. By far their best showing to date, but they still could take lessons from Mike Garrett on how to navigate beyond the end zone.
Game 5 brought the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Monday night national television audience. Len Dawson threw for 3 more touchdowns, including the 200th of his career, and the first in the career of Hangstram's top draft choice, Elmo Wright. But the story of the game was the phenomenal performance of Otis Taylor, who caught 6 passes for 190 yards and 2 touchdowns, as the Chiefs won their 4th straight victory, 38-60.
Washington has won the way of most winners by making few mistakes. But on their first play of the game, their fine running back, Larry Brown, fumbled, and Willie Lanier recovered on the Washington 28. This would be only the beginning for Willie Lanier. McVeigh, but following the touchdown, it backfired as Kurt Knight's kick was taken by Robert Holmes, who returned it to the 45, giving his team excellent field position. On this series, Dawson, burned by the pass twice, stuck to the ground. Ed Podolak got a first down in enemy territory. But several plays later, on third down, Podolak was hit for a loss by Verlin Biggs. And from the 39-yard line, Jan Stenerud tried a field goal. The nerveless Norwegian had changed the score to 7-3, and a nervous George Allen urged his team to regain momentum. Knight attempted a long field goal, and what he succeeded in doing in kickoffs, he failed to do on his field goal attempt. For his short kick was taken by Warren McVeigh, who weaved his way 51 yards to the Redskin 47. Despite McVeigh's big play, Kansas City again was unable to move the ball on George Allen's defense. Washington had a reprieve. The other way. Unable to pass it all in the first half, Dawson began to find the mark. Otis Taylor made his initial catch of the game. Then Dawson picked out his other wide receiver, rookie Elmo Wright, and fired a strike to the Chiefs' first draft pick. Another view of this big gainer shows that Dawson set up and threw quickly. He fired past a lunging defender right into Wright's hands. Though he was finally having success in the air, Dawson kept the Skins' defense honest with a run, and Podolak carved out another chunk of 20. And with it 1st and 10 on the Redskins' 25, Lenny the Cool got hot again. With plenty of time to throw, he fired another strike to Otis Taylor, this time for a touchdown. Hank Stram's big play attack had looked well-oiled for the first time in the game, and the Chiefs now trailed 17-13. Momentum is perhaps the key intangible in pro football. He missed 9 of 10, but that one gets you on the board quick. This is exactly what happened. Dawson kept going long and finally hit Elmo Wright for 50 yards. An isolated view of Lenny Dawson on the play showed the cool Chief quarterback somewhat pleased at the result. Two plays later, Dawson went back to Wright and hit him for the score. Wright ran his own special pattern once in the end zone, the Elmo Shuffle. The quick-striking Chiefs had again turned momentum 180 degrees, and the game was now tied at 20. With 10 minutes left, Kilmer was content to stick to game plan, even though the Chiefs had stifled their ground game. Haraway and Brown soon found again there was no place to run, no place to hide against Curly Culp and company. Without the threat of Charlie Taylor, Kilmer went for shorter passes. But an isolated view of Kilmer showed the results to be negative. The Chiefs' defense had held again. Surprisingly, Dawson went to his ground game for 6 straight plays. This is another virtue of the big play attack. He had the defense looking pass all day, and he crossed them up with runs around the flanks 6 straight times, with Podolak and McVeigh doing the work. The defense now thoroughly confused, Dawson jumped on them for one final shocker. A deep post to none other than Otis Taylor, covered man for man by Fisher. It was no contest. A perfect pass, an amazing reception, and the Kansas City Chiefs had taken the lead.
On a repeat, watch Dawson fake to Wendell Hayes to pull in the secondary and keep his eye on his target despite a charging lineman. His pass was true, thrown high and away from the defender. Taylor's beautiful one-hand catch was the capper to another great day for the 7-year man from Prairie View. Taylor is not the Chiefs' tallest man, but he is the biggest Chief of them all. He has consistently made the big plays that have turned games around, and he was on the verge of winning another one for Kansas City. Dropped Kilmer. On this final series of the game, Billy Kilmer relived some of the frustration he had known in the past, but had forgotten in his first 5 victories of 1971. Fourth and 15. The Chiefs dug in for one last stand. Billy Kilmer dug in for one last try. It was all over, and cornerback Jim Marsalis let everyone know it. As he watched his offense run down the final seconds, Coach Hank Stram must have been well satisfied. The little genius had done it again. Stram, Lenny the Cool, the Big O, and a rock-hard defense had masterminded this victory. Stram's first ever over an NFC team in regular season.
Week number 6 brought the red-hot Washington Redskins, the only unbeaten team in pro football. Coach George Allen, quarterback Billy Kilmer, and wide receiver Charlie Taylor engineered a first-half onslaught which had the Redskins looking unbeatable with a 17-6 halftime lead. In the fourth quarter, on 3rd and 18, Len Dawson turned to a big play Taylor of his own, Otis Taylor. Dawson then showed his increasing confidence in Elmo Wright, and Wright came through to tie the score at 20-20. In the final minutes, with the score still tied, Len Dawson threw deep for Otis Taylor. Taylor's great clutch play climaxed his second consecutive great game. Hank Stram's Chiefs had won their 5th straight, and after 6 games, their record was as good as any in pro football.
Time has passed, and in Oakland, Dolly was a year older. Her birthday wish was, of course, that the Raiders would beat the Chiefs and take over sole possession of first place in the AFC West. And last week at the party, it was time to renew old acquaintances, as Ben Davidson dropped in on Len Dawson. And it was a time for Raider rookie Jack Tatum, number 31, to show what he's learned in half the NFL season. And as always, it was time for the Otis Taylor Show. Taylor's big plays and Ed Podolak's second touchdown gave Kansas City a 20-10 lead, and Oakland was in trouble. All afternoon, Darryl LaMonica was ineffectual against the Chiefs, and his play left the Raiders uninspired. And so, midway in the last quarter, it was time for George Blanda. And it took George just 2 plays to put Oakland on the board. Raymond Chester grabbed 1 pass despite double coverage. And fabulous Fred Biletnikoff grabbed the touchdown. Blanda later added a field goal that made the final 20-20. And the only present Dolly got for her birthday was that George Blanda became the all-time career scoring leader in the NFL.
For Week 7, the Chiefs traveled to Oakland, where, as usual with the Raiders, it was a story of 3 quarterbacks. But this time, none of the 3 was able to accomplish much. It was a day for collecting bruises and not much more. The game ended in a tie, but the Chiefs lost their top runner, Ed Podolak, with a leg injury.
New York Shea Stadium last week was the site of the untying of the AFC West. The injury-racked Jets had won only 2 games, were last in offense, next to last in defense, and were able to start only 3 regulars on their defensive team. The wind was gusting to 35 miles per hour, and the stage was set for an upset. On the game's first series, league-leading punter Gerald Wilson fumbled, and the Jets had the opening to their only touchdown. Rookie runner John Riggins then rampaged 25 yards to the Kansas City 4. Jet touchdowns have been a rare sight this season. Emerson Boozer scored the only one last Sunday. When Kansas City regained possession, Len Dawson looked for the NFL's leading yardage-consuming machine, Otis Taylor, and the Chiefs were on the way back. For the tying touchdown, Kansas City used a tight formation with no wide receivers, and Dawson found rookie runner Mike Adamle for his first professional touchdown. And probably no touchdown is ever remembered as well as the first. For the rest of the game, the Chiefs were allowed only 3 more points by the reconstructed but suddenly savage Jet defense. For both teams, it was a day for defense. The Bob Davis-led Jets managed just 9 yards through the air. Trailing by 13-10 in the 4th quarter, Len Dawson had to cut through the wind to win. He managed a second and last completion to Taylor, but the Jets came up with 2 fourth-quarter interceptions to sew up their 3rd victory. The loss dropped the Chiefs 1/2 game behind Oakland in the AFC West.
And the following week in New York, the only Kansas City touchdown was scored by rookie running back Mike Adamle, number 32. The Chiefs lost to the Jets 13-10 and were suddenly out of first place for the first time since the opening week.
Not only were the Browns on an unaccustomed losing streak, but their opponents, the Chiefs, had not won since 3 weeks before. The Chiefs' running attack was due for a revitalization by the return of Ed Podolak, number 14. Only 15 of the 75 yards covered on this run counted because Podolak had stepped on the edge of the sideline at his own 40. The Chiefs' only real touchdown was set up when Len Dawson threw for 24 yards to the world's tallest receiver, 6'10" Morris Stroud. The touchdown came on a well-executed quick screen to Wendell Hayes, who careened 26 yards to the end zone. With second-year man Mike Phipps at quarterback, the Browns' offense was inconsistent. Twice Phipps was intercepted by cornerback Emmett Thomas, number 18. Just about the only bright spot for Cleveland was the play of speedy former Chief wide receiver Frank Pitts, number 25. It was not until the fourth quarter, when Bill No Knees Nelson entered the game, that the Browns could mount a successful drive. Frank Pitts quickly became Nelson's favorite target as he pulled in 5 passes worth 129 yards against his former teammates. Cleveland's only score came with only 55 seconds to play, when Nelson hit tight end Milton Morin at the goal line. Despite their 4th straight loss, the Browns remain tied with Pittsburgh for the lead in the AFC Central, while Kansas City still trails Oakland in the AFC West.
Week number 9 brought the Cleveland Browns to Kansas City, and Len Dawson managed just enough offense to give the Chiefs their first win in 3 weeks, as the Chiefs squeezed by Cleveland 13-7. And Hank Stram became only the 5th coach ever to achieve 100 regular season victories.
The Denver Broncos had a new coach, Jerry Smith, a new quarterback, Steve Ramsey, and a new way to beat the Kansas City Blitz. Number 80, Jerry Simmons, accounted for 153 yards receiving on 6 catches. But he could only set up 1 field goal for the offense-starved Broncos, whose only other score came on a bolt up the middle by Floyd Little. The rest of the day, the new Denver offense looked very much like the old Denver offense, as the Chiefs' defense turned in 1 goal line stand and 3 key interceptions. Meanwhile, the Chiefs' offense was having one of its better days against the tough Denver defense. Len Dawson started the fireworks with a touchdown strike to tight end Morris Stroud. Later in the first period, wide receiver Elmo Wright had the best cause for celebration of his young pro career, a 69-yard leap, hop, high step, and victory dance. Altogether, Len Dawson bombed the Broncos for 3 touchdowns and almost 300 yards through the air. Still another touchdown came on a picture-perfect power sweep with number 71, Ed Buddy, leading Ed Podolak into the end zone. Ed Podolak is an intelligent young man who always hastens to congratulate his escorts. Almost overlooked in the Chiefs' offensive torrent was their biggest threat, Otis Taylor, who set up the final touchdown with a 40-yard bomb. For the Chiefs' 4th touchdown, Len Dawson called on fullback Jim Otis, who is no Otis Taylor, but he gets the job done. In one of the sport's fiercest but most lopsided rivalries, the Chiefs prevailed for the 22nd time in 24 tries. Final score, Kansas City 28, Denver 10.
Next came the rematch with Denver, and this time it was bombs away for Len Dawson and the offense. First to tight end Morris Stroud, the tallest target in pro football. Next, Dawson found Elmo Wright for one of the fanciest touchdowns of the year. Dawson's third touchdown pass was also a fancy catch by Jim Otis as the Chiefs dropped Denver for the 22nd time in 24 tries. 4 days later, on Thanksgiving Day in Detroit, Ed Podolak showed that his legs were completely healthy again as he ran for 3 touchdowns against the Lions. Detroit quarterback Greg Landry had a potent weapon of his own in all-pro tight end Charlie Sanders, number 88. Sanders and the Lions outscored Podolak and the Chiefs 32-21. Week 12 found the Chiefs in San Francisco for a Monday night battle with the first-place 49ers. Len Dawson fired away for 263 yards against the tough San Francisco defense. And once again, one man stood out above all others, and that one man was Otis Taylor. Otis Taylor scored both Kansas City touchdowns as the Chiefs rolled past San Francisco 26-17. And then, finally, the showdown with Oakland for the Western Division title. And what better way to begin than by throwing to All-Pro Otis Taylor. As usual, the entire Kansas City front four gave Raider quarterback Daryle Lamonica a rough time. So rough that Oakland had to call on their old man of the miracle much earlier than usual, and George Blanda was ready with the experience of 22 years in pro football. But the Chiefs' defense was just as ready for George Blanda. The Chiefs led 13-7 until early in the fourth quarter, when George Blanda and Marv Hubbard drove the Raiders to the touchdown which gave Oakland the lead 14-13. The last chance for Len Dawson and the Chiefs came with 5 minutes left in the game, trailing by 14-13 and 93 yards from the Oakland goal. On 3rd and 10, Dawson found Otis Taylor in the crowd for 16 yards and a first down. 4 more times Dawson went for Taylor, and 4 more times the Chiefs advanced toward the Oakland goal. Finally, an interference penalty for tripping set the stage for place kicker Jan Stenerud. And after 3 runs into the line, on 4th and 1, Stenerud converted one of the most important kicks of his career. Leading by 2 points, the Chiefs' last moments of doubt were dispelled as George Blanda's final desperation pass was intercepted by Jim Kearney. The Chiefs had beaten the Raiders 16-14. They had won their 4th division title in 12 years. And as coach Hank Stram stated after the game, "We have had a lot of great victories in our history, but this has to rate as one of the greatest."
The Kansas City Chiefs had not won a division title since 1966, when they were the AFL's first Super Bowl team. Since then, their fiercest rivals, the Oakland Raiders, had won 4 straight Western Division titles. Last week, the Chiefs drew first blood with a Lynn Dawson touchdown pass to Otis Taylor, pro football's top yardage receiver. In the early going, the Oakland attack consisted mainly of a Darryl LaMonica handoff to Marv Hubbard, who loves to run against the Chiefs. For the most part, LaMonica was ineffective, and each of the Chiefs' front four relished taking a shot at him. Trailing 10-0 with 4:16 to go in the first half, LaMonica was derricked, and in came an old guy who had been there before. 44-year-old George Blanda immediately marched the Raiders to their first touchdown, which came on a sweep by Marv Hubbard. With 8 seconds left in the half, Lynn Dawson threw to Dennis Holman to stop the clock, but Holman almost scored and almost used up the clock. With just 1 second left, the Chiefs got a field goal and had 13-7 at the half. Early in the second half, Buck Buchanan handled Blanda like anything but the priceless antique that he is. But old George was far from finished. Cooling the rush with his deft screen passes to Marv Hubbard, Blanda again moved the Raiders goalward. On the first play of the fourth quarter, Blanda threw for Rod Sherman, but Johnny Robinson interfered. From the one, Hubbard scored again, and the Raiders were on top 14-13. Then with 5 minutes to play, 3rd and 10 from his own 7, Lynn Dawson went for Otis Taylor in one of the game's key plays. 3 more passes to Otis Taylor had the ball on the Oakland 41. And from there occurred another of the game's big plays. Jim Warren, number 20, was charged with interference. And after 3 running plays, Jan Stenerud put the Chiefs back in front 16-14 with 1.5 minutes to play. 1.5 minutes for George Blanda to work his magic, but this was to be Kansas City's day to cheer. Jim Kearney intercepted a 4th down desperation pass, and Hank Stram's Chiefs had won the West from the Raiders for the first time in 5 years. For the Chiefs, a real cause for celebration. For the Raiders, a time to ponder, an unbelievably abrupt conclusion to an unsuccessful run for pro football's championship.
At Municipal Stadium, Jan Stenerud used his instep to kick 5 field goals, while Buffalo's John Laypolt exhibited the old-fashioned toe for 3 three-pointers. Besides the 8 field goals, both teams showed little offense. Number 83, Willie Frazier, did his best to imitate the Stampede spectaculars of teammate Otis Taylor. But Otis later proved there was no substitute for the genuine article. Buffalo quarterback Dennis Shaw was no match for roughhouse rookie Wilbur Young, number 99, from tiny William Penn College. While Young showed a rookie's enthusiasm for contact, it was wise old pro Bobby Bell who did the most damage. Bell turned his interception of a Shaw pass into the only touchdown of the game as Kansas City overwhelmed the hapless Bills 22-9.
Christmas Day, the first playoff game ever held in Kansas City, and the last pro football game ever held in Municipal Stadium. The Western champion Chiefs against the Eastern champion Miami Dolphins. For once, the Chiefs' principal offensive weapon was not Otis Taylor, but Ed Podolak, who played the greatest game of his young career. Against Miami, Ed Podolak rolled up 350 yards in total offense, the second best game total ever recorded in pro football history. And with the aid of a crushing block by Mo Mormon, number 76, Podolak scored the game's first touchdown, which gave the Chiefs a 10-0 first quarter lead. In the third quarter, a second effort burst by Jim Otis set up another Kansas City touchdown. And in the fourth quarter, a sensational Len Dawson to Elmo Wright bomb set up a third Kansas City touchdown. Despite the heroics of Podolak, Otis, and Wright, Bob Griese kept bringing the Dolphins back with his passing to Paul Warfield. And with only a minute and a half to play, Griese found Marv Fleming for the touchdown which tied the score at 24. Ed Podolak took the ensuing kickoff and headed upfield. Podolak's great play set up a chance for Jan Stenerud to win the game with a field goal from the 32-yard line with only 35 seconds left to play. Kansas City and Miami were now participants in only the fourth sudden death overtime in pro football history. And to begin it, the Dolphins could not keep the kickoff away from Ed Podolak. But beyond Podolak's return, the Chiefs could not move well. And so it was up to the Kansas City defense.
Big down, big down, big down! Come on, Curly, get it! Come on, Ed, put some pressure on him now!
In the sixth period, with both teams exhausted, a counter play sprung Larry Zonka for his only good gain of the day.
Come on, defense, now's the time, baby! Now's the time! Got to do it,
For Garo Yepremian and all of the Miami Dolphins, a moment of... For the Chiefs, a moment of horror. For every witness to the event, a moment forever crystallized in memory. In the longest pro football game ever played, Miami had defeated Kansas City 27-24. But this could not tarnish the glory of a season of triumph. A season in which Hank Stram had led his team to some of the greatest victories in their history, on their way to a 10-3-1 record and the Western Division title. 1971 had been a season of great plays, great players, and great victories. And the Chiefs could look forward to their new home at Arrowhead, knowing that the final season in their old home had truly been a year to remember.